The stars twinkled innocently in the night sky, unaware of the cosmic drama about to unfold on the small blue planet below. In a dimly lit basement laboratory of the Galileo Institute for Advanced Sciences, 14-year-old Zoe Nakamura, hunched over a cluttered workbench, her dark eyes fixed intently on the strange object before her. "Come on, you beautiful mystery. What are you hiding?" Zoe muttered, adjusting the magnification on her custom-built scanner. The artifact, a palm-sized iridescent sphere covered in intricate, swirling patterns, had been unearthed at an archaeological dig in the Gobi Desert just weeks ago. Now it sat in Zoe's lab, defying every attempt to uncover its secrets. Zoe's fingers flew across the holographic keyboard, inputting new algorithms and tweaking sensor parameters. Most kids her age were busy with social media and video games, but Zoe had always been different. Her mind crackled with an insatiable curiosity that had propelled her through school at a breakneck pace. Now, at an age when most were just entering high school, she was already working on her PhD in xenoarchaeology. A soft chime from her computer interrupted her focus. Zoe's eyes widened as she read the incoming message. "No way," she breathed, a grin spreading across her face. "Dr. Rees, you've got to see this." From the adjacent room, Dr. Amelia Rees emerged, her silver hair tied back in a neat bun. "What is it, Zoe? Have you found something?" Zoe nodded excitedly, pointing to her screen. "Look at these energy readings. They're off the charts. And see this pattern. It's not random. It's a language, Dr. Rees. Unsure of it." Dr. Rees leaned in, her brow furrowing as she studied the data. "Extraordinary," she murmured. "But how did you?" "I recalibrated the quantum resonance scanner to detect subspace fluctuations," Zoe explained, her words tumbling out in a rush. "Then I cross-referenced the patterns with every known ancient script in our database. Nothing matched, but the linguistic structures are undeniable. This isn't just an artifact, Dr. Rees. It's a message." As if responding to Zoe's words, the sphere suddenly pulsed with a soft, blue light. The swirling patterns on its surface began to shift and change, like liquid metal in motion. "Zoe, step back," Dr. Rees warned, but Zoe was transfixed. She reached out, her fingers barely brushing the sphere's smooth surface. In that instant, everything changed. A surge of energy coursed through Zoe's body, and her vision exploded with impossible colors. Images flooded her mind, vast starships, alien worlds, and beings of unimaginable form and consciousness. In a heartbeat, she understood. The sphere wasn't just a message, it was a key. A key to humanity's place in a universe far grander and more perilous than anyone had ever imagined. As quickly as it began, the vision faded. Zoe stumbled back, gasping for air. The sphere now glowed steadily, its patterns stabilized into a new configuration. "Zoe, are you all right?" Dr. Rees steadied her, concern etched on her face. Zoe nodded, her mind reeling from what she'd seen. "I'm okay, but everything's different now. We're not alone, Dr. Rees, and they're coming." "Who's coming?" Dr. Rees asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zoe met her mentor's gaze, her eyes filled with a mixture of wonder and fear. "The architects, the ones who left this key, and the harvesters, the threat they built it to fight." Before Dr. Rees could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. On every screen, urgent messages flashed. "Unknown objects, DTKTD, entering solar system. This is not a drill." Zoe looked at the glowing sphere, then back to Dr. Rees. "It's starting," she said, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. "Whatever happens next, this is the key to humanity's survival. We need to protect it, and we need to figure out how to use it." Dr. Rees nodded grimly, already moving to secure the lab. "I'll contact the authorities. Zoe, I need you to focus. Everything you saw, everything you felt, we need to document it all. Humanity's future may depend on what's in your head right now." As Zoe began frantically typing her experiences into the computer, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The universe had just gotten a whole lot bigger, and humanity was about to be thrust onto a cosmic stage it never knew existed. But with the key, this ancient gift from a long-vanished alien race, they had a fighting chance. Outside, unnoticed by the frantic scientists, a shooting star streaked across the sky. But this was no mere meteor. The first scouts of the Harvester fleet had arrived, their soulless eyes fixed on the tiny blue planet that dared to awaken the architect's key. The cosmic chess game had begun, and Earth was the board. The skies above Earth churned with ominous energy as the Harvester ships pierced the atmosphere. Their obsidian hulls gleamed like polished onyx, defying radar and visual detection systems alike. In the White House Situation Room, President Elena Rossi stood rigid, her eyes fixed on the flickering holographic displays. "Madam President," General Marcus Harding began, his voice gravelly with tension, "we've lost contact with our lunar outpost. The Harvesters have established a beachhead there." President Rossi's jaw tightened. "And our defensive capabilities?" "Limited at best," the general admitted. "Our most advanced weapons barely scratch their shields. It's like throwing pebbles at a tank." As if to punctuate his words, the room shuddered. Outside, the first Harvester ship had entered low Earth orbit, its massive form blotting out the sun over Washington, D.C. "Dr. Nakamura," the president turned to the holographic image of Zoe's mentor. "What's the status of the artifact?" Dr. Ree's image flickered. "Secure for now, Madam President. But there's more. The girl who activated it, Zoe, she's been able to interface with it somehow. She's decoding information at an unprecedented rate." President Rossi leaned forward. "What kind of information?" "Schematics, mostly," Dr. Reeves explained. "For weapons, shields, faster than light drives. Technology far beyond our current capabilities. But it's not just raw data. There are messages, warnings about the Harvesters, and instructions on how to fight them." A low murmur rippled through the room. Hope, however faint, had entered the equation. "How long to implement any of this?" General Harding asked. Dr. Reeves hesitated. "Months at least. Maybe years for the more advanced concepts. We simply don't have the infrastructure or understanding to." Her words were cut short as the building shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling, and several displays flickered out. "We're out of time," President Rossi declared. "Dr. Reeves, get that artifact and your prodigy to a hardened facility in Cheyenne Mountain. General, initiate the Scorched Earth Protocol. If we can't stop them, we'll make damn sure they don't get what they came for." As the room erupted into frantic activity, a young aide approached the president. "Ma'am," he said, his voice quavering, "we're receiving a transmission." "From the Harvester ship." The room fell silent as the main screen flickered to life. The being that appeared was vaguely humanoid, but wrong in a way that made the skin crawl. Its eyes were multifaceted, like an insect's, and its mouth was a writhing mass of tentacles. "People of Earth," the creature's voice reverberated through the room, a cacophony of clicks and hisses underlaying its words. "We are the Harvesters. Your world has activated an architect key, signaling your readiness for ascension. Surrender the key and submit to harvesting, and your species will be elevated. Resist, and you will be eradicated." President Rossi stepped forward, her voice steady. "This is President Elena Rossi of the United Earth Government. We do not recognize your authority, nor do we submit to your threats. The people of Earth will defend themselves by any means necessary." The Harvester's eyes flickered with an alien emotion. "You misunderstand, Primitive. This is not a negotiation. It is your destiny." The transmission cut off abruptly. Moments later, the first energy beams lanced down from the Harvester ships, carving fiery swaths across the planet's surface. In the Galileo Institute, Zoe worked feverishly, her mind interfacing with the architect key at a level that defied explanation. Equations and alien concepts flowed through her consciousness, slowly coalescing into understanding. Dr. Rees, she called out, her voice strained. I think I found something. A weakness in their shields. If we can. Her words were drowned out by the sound of shattering glass. Harvester drones, sleek and deadly, poured into the lab. Dr. Rees grabbed Zoe's arm, pulling her towards the emergency exit. Run, she shouted, shoving the sphere into Zoe's hands. Get to the extraction point. I'll hold them off. Zoe hesitated for a split second, tears welling in her eyes. Then she turned and ran, clutching the key to her chest. Behind her, she heard the crackle of energy weapons and Dr. Reed's defiant shouts. As Zoe burst out of the building, the night sky was alive with chaos. Harvester ships engaged in dogfights with Earth's overmatched fighters. The ground shook with distant explosions, and the air was thick with smoke and the acrid smell of ozone. A sleek black helicopter swooped down, its side door sliding open to reveal a team of heavily armed soldiers. Zoe Nakamura, the lead soldier, shouted over the din. I'm Captain Akira Tanaka. We're here to get you to safety. Zoe climbed aboard, her heart pounding. As the helicopter lifted off, she looked back at the burning institute. Somewhere in that inferno was Dr. Reeves, who had sacrificed herself so that humanity might have a chance. Clutching the architect key, Zoe made a silent vow. She would unlock its secrets, no matter the cost. She would find a way to turn this alien gift into humanity's salvation. The harvesters thought they were facing a primitive species, easy prey for their cosmic harvest. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. As the helicopter sped towards Cheyenne Mountain, Earth's last, best hope cradled in the arms of a 14-year-old girl, the real war for humanity's future was about to begin. The Cheyenne Mountain complex, once a relic of the Cold War, now bustled with frantic activity. Deep within its reinforced chambers, Zoe Nakamura sat surrounded by banks of humming computers, her eyes closed in concentration as she interfaced with the architect key. Major Diana Chen, the facility's chief of security, watched the young prodigy with a mixture of awe and concern. Any progress? She asked Dr. Elias Vega, the quantum physicist assigned to work with Zoe. Dr. Vega shook his head, running a hand through his unkempt hair. It's extraordinary. She's processing alien concepts faster than our most advanced AI. But translating that into something we can actually use, that's the challenge. A tremor shook the complex, causing lights to flicker. Major Chen's hand instinctively went to her sidearm. Well, we're running out of time. The harvesters have taken most of Europe and Asia. What's left of our forces are barely holding the line in North America. Zoe's eyes snapped open, glowing with an otherworldly blue light. I've got something, she said, her voice eerily calm. A way to disrupt their shield harmonics. It won't destroy them, but it'll give our weapons a fighting chance. Dr. Vega rushed to a nearby console, fingers flying over the holographic keyboard. I'm sending the data to our R&D teams now. If we can retrofit our existing weapons. Do it, Major Chen ordered. I'll inform High Command. As the two adults hurried off, Zoe slumped in her chair, exhaustion etched on her young face. The constant interfacing with the alien artifact was taking its toll, but she couldn't stop. Not when the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Thousands of miles away, in the ruins of what was once London, a very different resistance was taking shape. Captain Jack Harper, his face streaked with grime and blood, peered through a cracked window at the Harvester Patrol moving down the debris-strewn street. They're getting sloppy, he muttered to his second-in-command, Sergeant Maria Saito. Overconfident. Maria nodded, checking the charge on her scavenged alien weapon. Good. Makes them easier to kill. Jack's ragtag group of survivors had been waging a guerrilla war against the harvesters for weeks. They'd learned the hard way that conventional tactics was suicide against the technologically superior invaders. But humanity's greatest strength had always been its adaptability. Remember, Jack addressed his team, a motley crew of soldiers and civilians. We hit hard and fast. Grab what tech we can and disappear. Every piece of their equipment we take is one step closer to turning this war around. As the Harvester Patrol passed their hiding spot, Jack gave the signal. In a coordinated burst of movement, his team sprang into action. Improvised EMP devices temporarily disabled the alien drones, while precisely aimed shots from scavenged Harvester weapons brought down the larger units. In less than a minute, it was over. The street was littered with smoking alien tech, and Jack's team was already salvaging what they could. "Nice work, people," Jack said, his eyes scanning for any sign of reinforcements. "Let's get this back to Dr. Emerson. She's been dying to get her hands on one of their intact power cores." As they melted back into the ruins of the city, Jack couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. Humanity was down, but far from out. All across the globe, pockets of resistance were forming, adapting, learning to fight back against an enemy that had grossly underestimated the tenacity of the human spirit. Back in Cheyenne Mountain, alarms blared as Zoe stumbled out her chair, the architect key pulsing with intense light. "What's happening?" Major Chen demanded as she rushed into the room. Zoe's eyes were wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. "They're coming," she said. "The architects. I can feel them." Dr. Vega looked up from his console, confusion etched on his face. "But I thought the architects were long gone." Zoe shook her head. "Not gone, waiting. And now they're waking up." As if in response to her words, the entire complex shuddered. On screens throughout the facility, impossible readings began to pour in. Massive energy signatures were appearing all across the solar system. Ancient stations and shipyards, hidden in fold space, now revealing themselves after eons of dormancy. Major Chen's comm unit crackled to life with an urgent message from the surface. "You need to see this," a voice said, tinged with awe. Rushing to a view screen, they watched as a massive shape emerged from the dark side of the moon. It was a ship, but one that dwarfed even the largest harvester vessels. Its surface gleamed with the same iridescent patterns as the architect key, and as it moved towards Earth, smaller craft began to launch from its hangars. "It's beautiful," Zoe whispered, tears streaming down her face as knowledge from the key flooded her mind. "They're here to help us, to finish what they started millions of years ago." As the architect's ships engaged the Harvester fleet in Earth orbit, the tide of the war began to shift. Humanity, armed with the knowledge Zoe had unlocked and the support of their ancient benefactors, finally had a real chance at victory. But the Harvesters were far from defeated. Their initial shock at the architect's return quickly gave way to a brutal, desperate offensive. The real battle for Earth and the future of the galaxy was about to begin. And at the center of it all was Zoe, a young girl carrying the weight of two civilizations on her shoulders, racing against time to unlock the final secrets of the architect key before it was too late. The skies above Earth had become a battlefield of cosmic proportions. Architect vessels, gleaming like liquid starlight, clashed with the obsidian hulls of harvester ships. Energy beams crisscrossed the atmosphere, and the debris of destroyed craft rained down on the planet below. In the war room of Cheyenne Mountain, President Rossi stood before a holographic display of the battle, her face etched with grim determination. "What's the status of Project Prometheus?" she asked, turning to Dr. Vega. The scientist adjusted his glasses nervously. "We've successfully integrated the Architect Shield technology into our satellite network, Madam President. It's not perfect, but it should give our cities some protection against harvester bombardment." Major Chen stepped forward, her uniform crisp despite the chaos around them. "Our ground forces are reporting success with the retrofitted weapons. We're actually starting to push them back in some areas." President Rossi nodded, allowing herself a small smile. "And our young prodigy." As if on cue, Zoe burst into the room, her eyes wild with excitement. "I figured it out," she exclaimed, holding up the pulsing architect key. "The final piece of the puzzle. It's not just a key, it's a seed." Dr. Vega's eyebrows shot up. "A seed? What do you mean?" Zoe took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. The architects didn't just leave us weapons or shields. They left us the blueprint for a device that can reshape reality itself, a Genesis engine. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. President Rossi was the first to speak. Can we build it? Zoe nodded slowly. With the architects' help, yes. But we'll need to get to their flagship. The key, the seed, it needs to be planted at the heart of their most powerful vessel. Major Chen frowned. The flagship is in the thick of the battle. Getting there won't be easy. No, President Rossi agreed. But it might be our only chance. Assemble a team. Whatever it takes, we need to get Zoe and that key to the architect flagship. As preparations began for the daring mission, the battle raged on across the globe. In the ruins of Tokyo, Captain Jack Harper and his resistance fighters found themselves in an unlikely alliance with a group of architect ground troops. The aliens, vaguely humanoid but composed of swirling energy contained within crystalline exoskeletons, moved with fluid grace as they engaged the harvesters. Jack ducked behind a shattered wall, narrowly avoiding a blast from a harvester drone. "I never thought I'd say this," he shouted to Sergeant Saito, "but I'm glad these cosmic golems are on our side." Maria grinned, hefting her hybrid human-architect weapon. "Let's show them what humans can do, shall we?" Together, the human resistance and their architect allies pushed through the harvester lines, reclaiming the city block by block. Similar scenes played out across the planet as humanity, bolstered by architect technology and their own indomitable spirit, began to turn the tide. High above the Earth, a sleek shuttle burst from the hangar of a human carrier ship. At its controls, Major Chen expertly weaved through the chaos of the space battle. In the passenger compartment, Zoe clutched the architect key to her chest, her eyes closed in concentration. "We're approaching the flagship," Chen's voice crackled over the comm. "But we've got company. Harvester interceptors closing fast." Dr. Vega, strapped into the seat beside Zoe, looked at the young girl with concern. "Zoe, if you've got any more miracles up your sleeve, now would be the time." Zoe's eyes snapped open, glowing with alien energy. "I can do better than a miracle," she said, her voice resonating with power. "I can rewrite the rules." Placing her hand on the shuttle's control panel, Zoe let the knowledge from the key flow through her. The shuttle's engines suddenly flared with impossible energy, its hull shimmering as it phased partially out of normal space-time. Major Chen gasped as new information flooded her neural interface. "What did you do?" "Gave us an edge," Zoe replied, her voice strained with effort. "Now fly." The shuttle zipped between harvester ships, passing through their energy beams as if they were mere illusions. In moments, they were docking with the massive architect flagship, a structure that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. As they disembarked, they were met by a group of architects. Their bodies were like living fractals, constantly shifting and reforming. One stepped forward, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "Welcome, Zoe Nakamura," it said. "We have waited eons for one such as you. Are you ready to fulfill your destiny?" Zoe straightened her back, looking more like the herald of humanity's future than a 14-year-old girl. "I'm ready," she said. "Let's end this war and begin something new." As they moved deeper into the ship, towards its reality-warping core, the final battle for Earth and the future of the galaxy hung in the balance. The harvesters, sensing the shift in power, launched a desperate, all-out assault. But humanity, standing shoulder to shoulder with the architects, refused to yield. In the streets of cities across the globe, in the void of space, and in the impossible geometries of the architect flagship, the will and ingenuity of the human spirit was about to change the course of cosmic history. The Genesis engine awaited, and with it, the power to reshape the very fabric of existence. All that remained was for Zoe, the unlikely hero of this cosmic drama, to take the final step and plant the seed of a new future. The heart of the architect flagship pulsed with otherworldly energy, its walls shimmering with patterns that seemed to shift between dimensions. Zoe, flanked by Major Chen and Dr. Vega, followed the architect guide through corridors that defied Euclidean geometry. "I don't mean to rush you," Dr. Vega said, his voice tight with tension, "but Earth is still under attack. We need to activate this Genesis engine as soon as possible." The architect turned, its fractal form rippling. "Patience, human. What you call the Genesis engine is not a simple machine to be switched on. It requires understanding." They entered a vast chamber, at the center of which floated a swirling vortex of energy and matter. The architect key in Zoe's hand pulsed in resonance with the vortex. "Behold," the architect intoned, "the nexus of realities, the seed of creation itself." Zoe stepped forward, drawn by an irresistible pull. As she neared the vortex, images flooded her mind: the birth of stars, the collision of galaxies, the rise and fall of countless civilizations. I see everything," she gasped. Major Chen reached for her weapon, uneasy. "Zoe, be careful." But Zoe was beyond hearing. Her consciousness expanded, merging with the vast repository of knowledge within the Nexus, and suddenly she understood. "Oh," she breathed, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, it's beautiful and terrible." Dr. Vega stepped forward. "What is it, Zoe? What do you see?" Zoe turned to them, her eyes now swirling galaxies. "The cycle," she said. "The endless cycle of creation and destruction. The architects, the harvesters, they're two sides of the same coin." The architect bowed its head. "Yes, we create, seed worlds with life, nurture civilizations, and when they reach their peak, the harvesters come," Major Chen finished, realization dawning. "To cull them. But why?" So smiled sadly. "Balance. Without destruction, creation stagnates. Without the threat of the harvesters, species become complacent, cease to evolve." Dr. Vega shook his head, disbelieving. "So this war, all this death and destruction, it's all part of some cosmic plan." "Not a plan," Zoe corrected. "A natural law, as fundamental as gravity." But her eyes sparkled with newfound knowledge. Laws can be bent. Rules can be rewritten. The architect stepped forward. "That is why we chose humanity. Why we left the key for you to find. In all our ends of existence, we have never encountered a species with such potential for change, for defying the very rules of reality." Zoe nodded, understanding flooding through her. The Genesis engine isn't a weapon. It's a tool for rewriting the fundamental laws of the universe. Major Chen frowned. "Can we use it to stop the harvesters?" "We can do more than that," Zoe said, her voice resonating with power. "We can break the cycle. Create a new paradigm of existence, one where creation and destruction exist in harmony, rather than endless conflict." Dr. Vega's eyes widened. "The implications, it's staggering." The architect's form shimmered with what might have been excitement. "Will you do it, Zoe Nakamura? Will you reshape reality itself?" Zoe looked at the key in her hand, then at the swirling nexus. The weight of the decision pressed down on her. To change the very nature of existence, it was godlike power, and she was just a 14-year-old girl. But then she thought of Earth, of the billions fighting for survival, of Dr. Reeves, who had sacrificed herself so that Zoe could reach this point, of all the countless civilizations across the cosmos caught in the endless cycle of creation and destruction. She stepped toward the nexus, key held high. "I'm ready," she said, her voice steady. "Let's rewrite the universe." As Zoe plunged the key into the heart of the nexus, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. In that moment, suspended between what was and what could be, the fate of not just Earth, but all of existence hung in the balance. Light exploded from the nexus, engulfing Zoe and radiating outward. It washed over the architect flagship, then burst into space, spreading across the solar system and beyond at impossible speed. On Earth, humans and harvesters alike paused in their battle, looking up as a wave of transformative energy swept over them. In the ruins of cities, in the depths of bunkers, in the cockpits of fighters locked in desperate combat, everyone felt the change. The universe held its breath, awaiting the outcome of Zoe's choice. As the light faded, a new reality began to take shape, one forged by the indomitable spirit of humanity and the cosmic wisdom of the architects. The final chapter of this cosmic drama was about to unfold, and with it, the dawn of a new era for all of existence. As the blinding light of the Genesis engine faded, a profound silence fell across the earth and beyond. For a moment, it seemed as if the entire universe had paused, holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. Zoe Nakamura stood at the heart of the architect flagship, her small frame radiating with newfound power and understanding. Major Chen and Dr. Vega looked on in awe, their minds struggling to comprehend the magnitude of what had just occurred. "It's done," Zoe said softly, her voice echoing with the weight of cosmos. "The cycle is broken, but not ended. We've created balance." As if in response to her words, the ship around them began to transform. The stark lines and impossible geometries softened, merging with organic shapes that pulsed with life. Outside, the battle-scarred void of space shimmered, new celestial bodies blinking into existence. On Earth, the change was even more dramatic. The devastated cities began to rebuild themselves, not as they were, but as something new, a harmonious blend of human, architect, and even harvester technology. Trees sprouted from cracked pavement, their leaves shimmering with bioluminescence. The sky cleared, revealing stars that seemed closer, more vibrant than ever before. In the streets, the fighting had ceased. Humans and harvesters stood side by side, their weapons forgotten as they marveled at the transforming world around them. The harvesters, once terrifying and alien, were changing too. Their insectoid features softened, becoming more organic, more alive. Captain Jack Harper lowered his weapon, staring in disbelief at a harvester that now looked almost human. What's happening?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. The harvester, no, the being, turned to him, its eyes now filled with something akin to wonder. "We remembered," it said, its voice melodious rather than harsh. "We were like you once, before the cycle twisted us. And now we are free." All across the globe, similar scenes played out. The war that had threatened to annihilate humanity had transformed into a moment of universal understanding and rebirth. Back on the architect flagship, Zoe explained the new reality she had helped create. "The cycle of creation and destruction isn't gone," she said, her eyes reflecting the birth of new stars. "But it's no longer in conflict. The architects will still create, the harvesters will still renew, but now it's a cooperative process. A dance, rather than a war." Dr. Vega shook his head in amazement. "And humanity? What's our role in this new universe?" Zoe smiled, looking more like the 14-year-old girl she was than the cosmic being she had become. "We're the bridge," she said, "the adaptability and innovation that drew the architects to us in the first place. That's our gift to the universe. We'll be the ones who help different species understand each other, who find new ways to create and grow." Major Chen laughed, a sound of pure joy and relief. "So we saved the Earth by saving the entire universe. Not bad for a day's work." As news of the transformation spread, humanity began to emerge from its shelters, marveling at the new world around them. President Rossi, standing atop the ruins of the White House, now overgrown with impossibly beautiful alien flora, addressed the world. "People of Earth," she began, her voice carried on winds that whispered of distant worlds, "today marks not the end of our struggle, but the beginning of our greatest adventure. We have been given a gift beyond measure, a universe of endless possibilities, and the chance to shape it for the better." In the days that followed, the true scope of the change became clear. Faster-than-light travel was now possible, allowing humanity to take its first steps into a galaxy teeming with life and wonder. The blended knowledge of architects and harvesters cured diseases, solved energy crises, and opened up new frontiers of science and art. Zoe, hailed as a hero, but still very much a teenager, found herself at the center of it all. As Earth's ambassador to the stars, she traveled to distant worlds, helping other species navigate the new cosmic order. On one such journey, standing on the bridge of a starship with Earth, a beautiful blue marble in the distance, Zoe felt a presence beside her. It was the architect, its form now a swirling mixture of energy and matter. "You have done well, Zoe Nakamura," it said, its voice filled with warmth. "You have given the universe a gift it did not know it needed." Zoe smiled, thinking of all that had happened and all that was yet to come. "We all did," she replied. "Humans, architects, even the harvesters. We all played our part." As the ship prepared to jump to its next destination, Zoe looked out at the star-filled expanse before her. The universe was vast, full of mysteries and wonders beyond imagination, and humanity, with its unyielding spirit and newfound cosmic allies, was ready to explore every corner of it. The war was over, the cycle was broken, and the greatest adventure in human history was just beginning. In that moment, as starlight glinted off distant worlds full of possibility, one thing was clear: humanity had not just survived, it had thrived. In the face of cosmic challenges, it had proven its worth 1,000 times over. Humanity, ****, yeah.